Hi guys, so I'm back with a new video and let's talk about 2022. So, first of all, Happy New Year, Happy 2023. This wasn't exactly the video that I wanted to make. I had a bunch of other ideas, but honestly, December got pretty chaotic. I had a ton of things to do, and with the holidays and birthdays, and yeah, a ton of things happened in December, and I actually wanted to make a best and worst horror. Like, I wanted to rank all the horror movies that I watched in 2022, but I figured there's just too many lists to post right now, and I wanna do my best of the most. So here I am to tell you my top 10 movies of 2022. These aren't just horrors, obviously, because I'm a horror fan. A bunch of these ones are horror movies. This is just a general list of my favorite movies of 2022. If you still want that overall list of all the films that I watched, all the horrors that I've watched in 2022, just let me know in the comments because I can still do that. But I also have my most anticipated for this year to post. Just keep in mind that if you do want that horror list, there's gonna be a ton of tops videos, like a ton of lists, videos with lists. So yeah, just a warning. But yeah, I guess that's pretty much it. Let's get to my top 10 of 2022. So, as per usual, I'm gonna start with my 10th spot and go up to my number one. If you have been following me, you might guess a few of these, so I guess just let me know in the comments if you've guessed any of the films that are in my top 10. Also, if you guess my number one spot, it's not one that were the most loved. I haven't seen a lot of people that put this one in number one, but it was my favorite. But let's start with my number 10, which was really surprising, and it's one of the reasons why it got to my top 10, and I'm talking about The Northman. I did not review this one, mainly because I got to watch it a little bit later than I wanted to. Then yeah, it was too late to post a full-on review. But I did watch this one, and I gotta be honest, I wasn't really excited about it because I didn't love any of the other Robert Eggers films. Like, I'm not a huge fan of The Witch, and I didn't really love The Lighthouse either. But I went into this one just thinking, well, this isn't exactly a horror, it's more of an action thriller, it's a Viking story, which isn't exactly my thing either. But you know, it has Anya Taylor-Joy and Alexander Skarsgård, so I was interested. And yeah, I guess because I wasn't really expecting much, it got to my top 10. That's one of the reasons. Obviously, the story is pretty engaging, and I was really interested throughout the whole film. There's some really like gruesome and gory moments, which I wasn't really expecting because this isn't like a horror film. And cinematography is beautiful. Yeah, this film is really good. And because this came out like early in the year, if I'm not mistaken, I think a lot of people just forgot about it. So if you haven't seen it, just watch it because it's really good. My number 9, I did a review of, and I actually watched it twice. But usually when I watch films more than once, they get to a higher spot in my top. But there's just way too many good movies this year, so Resurrection got to number 9. And I actually watched this one at home. I did a review, so I'll link it up here. And later, I think like a month later, this was playing at Motel X, so I went and watched it again, but now in like a big screen, like in a cinema, and I liked it even more than the first time. Obviously, watching it with a crowd, it's something else. I already knew everything, so I wasn't super surprised the second time, but the first time I was like really, really surprised with where it went. But yeah, if you want to know more, just check out my full review, but this one was definitely one of the best films of the year. Number 8 is another one that I watched at the festival at Motel X, and I gotta be honest, this made to my 8th spot mainly because of how fun the movie going experience was. I'm talking about Deadstream. By no means this is like a perfect film, and it's really niche. I feel like you either love it or you hate it. I really enjoyed it. I had so much fun watching it like in a big screen. I had fun, like I laughed. It was really funny, but I also was scared. So yeah, it was really interesting to have both emotions like come out almost at the same time. So yeah, I just really enjoyed the experience of watching it like in a big screen with a few people in the room. The theater wasn't packed, but still was pretty fun to watch it. And it's just really my thing because this is about a YouTuber, and I really like when the cinematography is like just like a YouTube video, I guess. It's a bit similar to Spree with the vlogging cameras and all of that, so in the editing. So I just love that when they incorporate like social media in the films, so it's really my thing. I understand this probably won't be in anyone else's list, but I really, really enjoyed it, so yeah. So number 7, unlike Deadstream, this one is in a lot of people's lists, and I bet if it isn't, it's because people just haven't seen it yet. I'm talking about Triangle of Sadness. I wasn't really interested in watching it in the first glance, but then I started like hearing a lot of buzz about it and how it could be nominated for the Oscars. Right now, I don't think it has a shot because there's just way too many movies coming out right now. But it could get like 1 or 2 nominations, maybe, just not for the big award like for best film. But yeah, Triangle of Sadness is just a ride, and it's such an interesting, entertaining film. It's funny, it's dramatic, it's gross. Yeah, I had a lot of fun watching this one, and I don't know what else to say, to be honest. It's a satire, and I mentioned it in my review of The Menu. So if you've watched The Menu, go watch Triangle of Sadness, because in my opinion, Triangle of Sadness is better. They do talk about almost the same thing, like they have the same commentary almost, but I just think Triangle of Sadness does it better. It's a really, really long film. It's 2 hours and a half, if I'm not mistaken. It's almost 3 hours, but they go by really, really quickly. There's just like one moment in the middle of the film that I felt like in the middle towards the end that I did feel the runtime, but it's highly entertaining. And when you think it's over, it's not. There's a lot that goes on, and yeah, it's just a fun movie that it's also kind of deep at the same time, so highly recommend that one. My number 6 is another one that I've watched twice. I also reviewed this one, and I'm talking about Bones and All. That film is just so beautiful. I said it in my review. If you haven't seen my review, I'll leave it up here as well. But as soon as I finished watching that film, like when I was reviewing it and when I was editing the video, I just really wanted to watch it again. So yeah, like a few weeks later, I did go and watch it again. I did feel the runtime a second time that I watched it, but still, it's such a beautiful story. It's a beautiful film, like to look at. Love the score. Yeah, it's amazing. I really want to read the book just to see if it is as good as the film, if it is like if it has anything different about it. But yeah, if you can stomach it, because you know what it is about, obviously, I think. If you don't, just look it up. I don't want to spoil anything, but if you think you can handle it, not only it's a big growth, but it's also it's kind of disturbing in a psychological way. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but it's sad, but it's beautiful at the same time. So if you think you can handle it, I highly recommend it. Obviously, I went and watched it a second time because I really want to see it again on the big screen. So yeah, Bones and All is just a beautiful film. Now for my top 5, my number 5th spot, it's one that I don't think a lot of people have in their lists either. I'm talking about Watcher. I was pretty torn between Bones and All and Watcher, which one I liked the most. And although I did go and watch Bones and All a second time, I think Watcher is a lot more effective. Like, Bones and All is a film that you basically know where it goes. Like, you just know this is a love story, that it's kind of tragic. So yeah, it's not super surprising in the sense that the story is surprising. And that's one of the reasons why I liked Watcher a little bit more. I wish I had seen Watcher in a big screen because it was so effective. It's a simple story. I did a review of that one as well. That just kept me guessing throughout the whole film. It's just one of those that you just don't know what it's real and what is not. You just keep on guessing until the very end of the film. And honestly, it surprised me. Like, the end was pretty surprising. So yeah, it was really effective. It's not a long film either. So yeah, I think it's like almost perfect. It's almost a perfect thriller. And yeah, loved the cinematography, loved the story, the acting. So yeah, Watcher is really good. And although a few people talked about it, I think it's one of the most underrated movies of the year. So if you haven't seen Watcher, please watch it. I think you're gonna really enjoy it. I would kind of compare it to Resurrection in the way that they both feel really like indie but artistic at the same time, have really strong lead performances. So yeah, like the contents aren't the same, but the feel of it's pretty similar. So if you liked one or the other, just check the other one. So yeah, number 4 spot, I don't think I really need to talk about this one much because this is in most people's lists like the number 1, like their favorite of the year. This just isn't my favorite because of like the genre. This is not a horror movie, and all the other 3 films left on my list are horror films, and horror is my thing. This one isn't horror, but I had such a nice experience at the cinema as well. I'm talking about Top Gun Maverick. I would never in a million years think that this would be in my top 10. I wasn't even planning on watching it. I just heard a lot of buzz, and they had a promotion, like a 2-for-1 ticket to watch it on IMAX, and I just thought, let's go watch this film. Everyone is watching it right now, and I get the hype. Like, it's amazing. I had so much fun. It's effective. It's beautiful. Amazing acting. The story, like, again, it's effective. It's entertaining. It's well structured. Love the score as well, like the soundtrack. Yeah, there's nothing that you don't like about this film. Like, you can't fault it. It's really good, and yeah, everyone loved it, and for a reason, because it's what we needed right now. Honestly, I really prioritized this year films that made me feel good. Although I have a lot of horror movies here, there's just some horror movies that are fun and good. Although this is not a horror, it's one of those films that are just good watches. And yeah, if for a reason you haven't seen Top Gun Maverick yet, give it a try. It wasn't my thing either, and I ended up loving it and having it in my top 10 in my 4th spot. So yeah, give it a try. Now for my top 3. Let me know in the comments what you think is my top 3 before you watch the rest of this video, because I feel like if you have been watching my videos, following me on social media, you might know what my top 3 is. As I said, they're all horror movies, and all horror movies that I loved. I'm gonna give you a few seconds to write down what you think are my top 3. So, my number 3 is Something in the Dirt. I just love that film. Obviously, I mean, I'm a bit biased because I did meet the directors. I've talked about that like a million times in almost all my Motel X videos. I did a review of that one as well. If you haven't seen it yet, check it out. Again, this is another one that I feel like it's really, really underrated. I get it, it's not for everyone. It's not like Watcher. I feel like everyone could enjoy Watcher. Not everyone will like Something in the Dirt. If you liked Under the Silver Lake, you will love Something in the Dirt. It has that chaotic, like, conspiracy theories, like madness. It's actually a roller coaster of a lot of things. And if you are a fan of Aaron Moorhead and Justin Benson, and if you have seen their other films, there's a connection. And one of them just tweeted something about this film being connected to The Endless, which was like mind-blowing to me. They did say that this one was connected to their other films, like The Endless and I guess like Resolution and Spring. Yeah, but when I saw what he tweeted, I was like mind blown. Actually, I was so surprised. So if you like any of their other films, if you like conspiracy theories, if you like wild films, this is an indie film. You will feel it, but I don't think like the indie aspect takes away from the movie itself. I actually think it adds more to it, like the gritty aspect. It really feels like a homemade movie, and it is like a mockumentary style. So yeah, if you haven't seen it, please go watch it and support them, because yeah, just loved the movie. I loved them as people, as artists, as filmmakers. Yeah, just go watch Something in the Dirt, please. And now my number one and number two. Number two, actually both films came out in the beginning of the year, and any other film could top these two. Like, I'm sorry, but yeah, like the beginning of the year was really strong, in my opinion, for movies. My number two is Fresh. Fresh was so much fun. Again, I really prioritized fun. It's slightly disturbing, but I mean, not really, because it is so much fun and upbeat. I could relate to the protagonist so much, and I don't know, I just really enjoyed the film. It's a short film, if I'm not mistaken. I haven't seen it in a while. I watched this one twice as well, like almost back to back. I watched it in one day, and like a day later, not the next day, but 2 days later, I guess, I watched it again because I just really, really enjoyed it. It's a vibe. I really liked the like fun aspect. It was really upbeat, and it's interesting that a horror film that is slightly disturbing, it's really upbeat as well. So yeah, another amazing film that I did a review of, so again, check out that review if you want to know more. And now for my number one spot. Can you guess it? Did you guess it already? I bet if you know me, you might know, but it's not a movie that a lot of people have in their lists. But it was so much fun again. It was such a surprise to me because I wasn't a fan of this franchise, and now I'm so into this film. I bought it on DVD as soon as it came out, and I'm talking about Scream 2022. I just didn't like the Scream franchise. I watched this one because of Kyle Gallner. I'm gonna be honest, like, he just had like a little cameo, but I went in for him and I came out a Scream fan, like, honestly. Now I want to have like a bunch of Scream stuff, and this is an unpopular opinion, but this is my favorite Scream film. Yeah, I just have so many good like memories of watching this one. This was my first proper press screening that I like got to watch before everyone else, and yeah, it was like right in the beginning of the year in January, and there wasn't any other movie that could top Scream. Yeah, I know it's not a perfect film, and like Scream fans love the original, but I love this one. This one was the one that got me into Scream, and yeah, so this is my top 10. Let me know if you are surprised with any of my picks. I bet there's some like unpopular ones in this list, but yeah, I really, really liked all of these films. There's some that a lot of people like that are missing from my list, but yeah, I just have a really particular taste, I guess. It's not that I didn't love other films, like, for example, Everything Everywhere All at Once. Really enjoyed that film as well, but it just didn't make my top 10. The same goes for The Batman, or like The Whale. I really enjoyed The Whale, but as I said, I really prioritized films that made me feel good, and The Whale is really, really depressing, so yeah. But yeah, these are my top 10 of 2022. Let me know in the comments if you still want that like overall video about all the horror movies that I've watched in 2022, like my favorite ones, my least favorite ones. Just let me know in the comments. Also tell me like your top 3 of 2022, or just a few films that you liked, because I know it's difficult to pick a top, although I really like to put like some movies in order. It's kind of fun to me, but I know it's kind of hard. So let me know like a few films that you really liked from 2022. And yeah, if you liked the video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you're not subscribed yet, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!